Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online Let's Talk video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm just going to be doing a little heads up of things to come, like builds and stuff, and then talk to you guys a little bit about some of the other guides I'm going to be working on over the next several weeks, so you guys can see what I'm doing and how I'm going to be doing it and presenting it to you guys. So one of the first things I want to talk about is some of the new builds I have coming. So I have the Dark Knight character. This one is going to be one of my live characters, so that's why it's built this way. The Lord Knight, you guys have been asking and begging. It's coming Friday. The Adventurer character is making a comeback. This time it is changed. It is made to be more based on like dynamic play. It can play all three roles pretty good, tank, healer, and damage dealer. It's just an all-around adventurer type character. The next thing we have is the Assassin. That is coming also. I just released the Arcane Blade today. And then I have the Northern Wind coming tomorrow, with the Lord Knight following on Friday. Then next week I do have... all these builds you're seeing are going to be coming out in different orders. And I'm adding new builds all the time. We have the Ice Mage coming. We have the Night Witch. We have the Blade Singer, which a lot of people are super excited for. The Cleric, Dragon's Rage, the Death Knight, and the Ranger of Hearsing. Right now, these are the characters that I've been working on the character builds I've been working on PTS. So, another question I get asked all the time, oops, wrong one. That's not what I wanted to do. I get asked all the time is, how can you make so many different builds and they can all be different and unique in the way they play? I can take any class and make a unique build. That's just a given. But one of the things you have to understand about making a build, in order for a build to work the way you want it to, you have to use the sets and the structure of a character to have that advantage. So I'm using the Ranger just as a tool to describe what I mean. So this is a High Elf Warden, okay? It's called the Ranger of Hearsing, and it is, the PC stands for player character. Now you can see this thing has 20k magic and 19k health, 30k stamina in its natural setup, okay? It has 176 weapon damage, 1865 spell damage with 31% spell crit, 51% weapon critical, and then it has a 14,000 physical, 14,000 spell resist. It is using the Thief Mundustone, it is using Hearsing's Veneer, and it has increase all three stats, Tri-Stat Food, plus the Minor Berserk all the time. See, because the way I took this build, and I looked at it, was from the perspective of somebody who wanted to play more of like a legalist type character, or a ranger from like Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of perspective, and also incorporate something from the game to it called Hearsing's Veneer. It's a set. So the idea behind this character is it's a damage support character. That's the type of character design it is. That means it brings damage to the group and it brings support. Now you can see the monster set I'm running is Sign Cross. This one is going to give you the one-piece bonus is going to give you both spell and weapon crit, and then the two-piece is gain Minor Berserk at all times, increasing your damage done by 8%. Now a lot of people will say, well, if you have Birds of Prey, you already get this while it's slotted. This way you don't have to slot this. The only time you need this is when you need major expedition, like if you're farming materials or you're just out in the world doing stuff. That's all you need it for. You need it for nothing else. Or if you're playing PvP and you want to get around fast. That's what it can be used for. Otherwise, you have Minor Berserk all the time for all your abilities. Now, the reason why I build out the characters the way I do, using Tri-Stats and Tri-Rune enchants and all that stuff, is this way I can build my characters out to have access to both magic and stamina if they need it. See, this character is primarily a stamina damage dealer, but if you look, I have a 31% spell critical for a reason. And that's if I need to use any of these abilities, or any of these abilities that do damage. that are Magicka based or Magicka inclined. See, it's not meant to boost your damage, it's meant to bring something to the group that the group doesn't have. Like Winter's Revenge is a crowd control ability, and it can also chill enemies and put them on the immobilize their movement speed. So you can do this if somebody has a wall of elements out. So this is just a tool used to bring support to your group. That's it. It does damage, and it does support. That's the main purpose of this character build, is to bring tools to the group to offer support and aid in different situations. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a guide on support roles and what a support character is. And basically this is me explaining it. A support character is designed to be supportive to their group by utilizing gear sets and skills to offer more support in different ways. Anyone can play support, but there are characters you can make designed for support based on the sets they're using. Now the second set I'm using is the Night Mother set. Now this is a medium build, by the way. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of medium, 1 light, 1 heavy. And this is to maximize my resistance values and to give me the greatest playability with this character. And Night Mothers is another support set. Even though people will say it's a damage set, it is a damage set, but it has support built into it, because when you deal critical damage, you apply major fracture to the enemy, reducing their physical resistance by 5,280. Now it says to the enemy. It doesn't say how many. It doesn't define that. It's actually however many you critically hit. So if I'm playing in a group and I put down Endless Hail, and I hit every single one of the enemies in that group with a crit, I apply major fracture to them. Now I can do that as well with this ability if they're lined up perfectly in front of me, because this thing's 7 meters wide, 20 meters long, and that's a small section when you think about it. 7 meters isn't that wide. It's about 2 meters out from either side of your character, because according to the game's design, for some reason you have a 3-meter stance. That means your character stands in 3 feet, basically, or in 6 feet. I don't know why they do that, but it's how they do it. So where my guy's standing there, he has 3 meters around him. Now you got to remember, 7 meters and 20 is going to be like from here to there. So if I do this here, I should be able to hit that. Yeah, with that, and I get major fracture. But when I'm up close and I just hit the enemy, there you go, major fracture. Major fracture. And I can keep it reapplied all the time just by hitting him. You can see it. It's popping up there in the middle of underneath his health bar that I'm doing that. I also bled him and poisoned him just now. So that's the way this character is set up. It's meant to work that way, to offer group support while dealing damage. So the max I can get this character up to, by the way, in my weapon and spell damage without any other stuff is 3,111 with a 61% weapon critical, 1405 stam recovery, and that's without using a power pot. If I use a power pot, I go to 1598 stam recovery, and this doesn't change because I've already got the crit buff on me and the weapon damage buff. The nice thing about this build is it's designed to work this way. It's designed to work as more of a group support and damage dealer than anything else. Now, can it play a tank? Sure. With the right tools, it can. It can equip a sword and shield, change out your attribute points to max health if you want. Or just leave it the way it is and just put a sword and shield on. If you feel comfortable enough with your character and you can play them that well, then yes, this character can tank even in their DPS form. Yes, this person could tank even in a healer form. And that's the other nice reason why I choose Warden for a lot of this stuff, is because Wardens are the only class that get stamina heals. So if I wanted this character to be more healer friendly, I can put this on the back bar with this, and now I've got a heal coming from this, a heal from this, and a heal coming from this. And this allows me to help heal and support my group. I need more healing, I can put Living Trellis on, I can put Corrupting Pollen, or I can even put Nature's Embrace. But like I said, the whole concept behind this character design is to play more supportive while still doing damage. And a lot of people will say, well, you can't do that much DPS with a build like this because it's just not going to work. It's not going to be as effective as a damage dealer when you're playing mostly support. And people are right and wrong in the same sense. So I was working on this character before I made the healer video today. So that's why I don't have this unlocked. Actually, I want to go with Mystic Guard. Mystic Guard would be a better option for him. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what I mean by this. So I'm going to parse on this target skeleton just to show you the DPS of this character. And I am still having a little bit of trimmer issues, not as much. So I did 17k DPS, which to a lot of people that's really bad. Well, my character is designed to be more supportive. It doesn't mean that I can't do damage. That's just my damage there. Now I'm going to show you the damage over here because I want you guys to understand. Ow. This target skeleton isn't used to, or isn't designed to be working in a meta setup. It's meant to design to work in an organized group setup. That means playing one of every class in your group, having all the defensive buffs and debuffs and everything that you can get in the game applied to you while you're playing the game. That's what it's designed to work like. So, let's go ahead and start this again. Now, I am using the Trap Beast, the lightweight Trap Beast for when I solo and I'm running around in the world, because then I can throw the trap at enemies at a distance. And somebody already asked this before, why am I using Still Tornado? Still Tornado is there for when I have to do AoE damage, and I have to DPS AoE people. Now, I'm only doing about 25k DPS, because I'm having some trimmer issues. And if my trimmers are working, aren't affecting me as bad, I can actually do that parse and probably pull 30k DPS. And this is a build that's running a support set. Literally, everything about that set is support. It gives you recovery to help you maintain keeping your support skills up that are stamina based, like your heals or the other abilities you might use that are stamina based support skills, while reducing the cost of your stamina abilities by 4% for you and up to 11 group members within 28 meters. And this is also a Wood Elf, and I still have 32k stamina in a group using Warhorn. This is what my character looks like in a group dynamic. I have 4,020 weapon damage, 68% weapon critical, 70% critical damage, and I don't do insane DPS, but I do enough to get by. And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is, when you make a character in this game, it's not about making a build to play a certain role. That's if you want to focus on the idea of like an in-game build. Like if you want to be an in-game player and focus on being meta, then yeah, you're gonna make your character dedicated to one role. And this is just my opinion. I feel that's wrong. Playing a character like this, I can play them as any role I want, and they're going to be just as effective playing any role, tank, healer, and damage dealer. It's just that their primary design is to be a damage support character. It doesn't mean that I can't play them as a healer. It doesn't mean I can't play them as a tank. It just means their primary design is that of a damage type dealer character that has support built into them. And a lot of people assume that because they're told that tanks work a certain way or healers work a certain way, that's how they have to play. And it's not true. Anyone in your group can use any set. That means your damage dealers can use Olorum if they want to, because it's based on a ground target abilities. So if your damage dealers are popping Olorum with their AoEs and their wall of, like their liquid lightnings and stuff, anyone standing within that range of that circle is going to get it applied to them. Spear shards, all that stuff can affect effectively apply Olorum. Liquid Lightning, Spear Shards, the Necros, I forget the name of it, the graveyard thing. Those all can proc Olorum. I've tested it just to make sure. And I even made a damage dealer build that uses Olorum with the new trial set that drops in the new Sunspire, running Elombris, and I was able to pull 45k with a build like this. Now 45k is really good. In fact, I could probably get 50k with it if I could just perfect the rotation. And that was on a Nightblade. Now just imagine that on a Sork, or just imagine that on any of the classes in the game that you can build Magicka-based characters with. That's every class. And this is where a lot of people misinterpret this whole idea that the game's built on the idea of a meta. And it's not, but it is. Because every character type that you make, you can min-max and make them work a certain way. And when you do that, they are their own meta. Because you've made them to be the most effective they can be with what you have available. And so technically you are playing a meta, even though it's not the term that most people use. But that is true. Because it is its own meta. And ESO is designed to work that way. Can I use anything else with this character? Sure. If I wanted to, I could even equip a Maelstrom bow to my back bar. Or, even better, I could go get the Master's bow. Or I can go get the Black Rose Prison bow. Or I can swap out from dual wield to Master dual wield on the front bar. Now I will use the extra recovery and the reduced cost of your stamina abilities by 4%. But I can still use the Master dual wield here. That would improve my overall DPS. By how much? Don't know, I'd have to test it. Just like if I put a Maelstrom bow on the back bar, I'd have to test it to see how effective it could be. But what I really want to give up, here scenes on both bars. That 4% reduced cost and abilities. See, that's the thing you have to understand, is you have to look at the game from all perspectives. You can't just look at it from one and say, this is how it's going to work best. You have to look at every different way you can play a character. And the reason why I know how sets work and how to make them work so well is because, see, I don't do like a lot of people. I don't just take sets at random, put them together and say, that's how it's going to work. I take specific sets and specific combinations. And I call it the primary-secondary setup. So let's say I'm playing a support character. My primary set's going to be a support set. My secondary set's going to be a damage set. And if I want the character to be a tank or a damage dealer, depending, my monster set is going to reflect that. It's going to reflect how I choose to play the character primarily. So even if I play a healer character, doesn't mean I'm going to use Olorum all the time. Or I'm going to use this all the time. I'm going to use different sets that offer different group benefits to make my character more support type in how they work. But then I'm going to use other sets that work in different functions in different ways, so this way I can take advantage of every aspect of my character and their tools available. This is one of the reasons why I do unlock so many different skills on the characters, is because somebody asked me this the other day, why do you do this? See, I don't always play the same setup all the time. And that's because when you play in different content, even when I play Overland, like I switch between different setups of skills because I know that some skills are going to work better in different situations than other ones. And most of the time when I'm just playing Overland, I really don't care what setup I have, just as long as it does the job that I need it to do, which is get me through the content. Now, if I make my character more solo-friendly, I will adjust my build to be more soloable. So I'll equip skills that are going to make my character more effective with solo play. And this is another thing I will be doing also, is a video on solo play. See, that's all I had to do. That's it. I don't have to do anything else to make this character a solo play character. I just need a shield to keep me alive. That's it. And how do I know it works? Because I've tested this so many times in the past that I know exactly what skills and abilities are going to work best for me as a player in solo play, or in group play, or in, different dungeons based on different situations. just because I know the content that well. I know what enemies are affected by what things the best and how to utilize those tools. And that's kind of the learning process of the game, is learning what your character can do with the skills they have on them. So like your class abilities, learn those. Learn your weapon abilities, the ones you want to use. Like if I want to tank with this, learning sword and shield is going to allow me to do that. And as you can see, I do have sword and shield unlocked. I also have restoration staff unlocked. I also have bow unlocked, and I have dual wield unlocked, because that's how I have this character set up to work with those tools. And then on top of that, I have all these armor passives unlocked to offer me more benefits. See, being a medium armor build, I actually get Windwalker, which reduces my cost of my stamina abilities by 10%. When you incorporate the fact that I get that extra 4%, that's 14% reduced cost in all stamina abilities. So there's a lot of things you need to look at when it comes to your character and how you build them and how you play them. And I do plan on doing guides going over all this stuff in more detail and explaining every different type of skill line, from class skills to weapon skills to armor skills, world skills, guild skills, alliance, racials, and crafting. I'm going to go over all this stuff in new videos coming out, but it's going to take me some time. I'm not going to be able to get it done in a month. This is long-term, down the road stuff. And then I also going to do some guides on talking about how to combine sets and give you the better benefit based on the type of character you want to play. Whether you want to be a knight type character, but you still want to take advantage of some magicka capability and focus mainly on stamina. So if you need to play as something that has a little bit more support to it, maybe you can use some of those magic abilities for group support. Because that's another thing a lot of people don't understand. In a true adventure type dynamic roleplay game, you're just going to group with people at random. And who you get grouped with, usually in a role-playing game, is based on the storyteller or the story creator. How many of you have ever played Final Fantasy? Any of the Final Fantasy games? Final Fantasy 1, or sorry, yeah, 1 in the United States was one of my favorite games ever created, besides Dragon Quest. And the reason why was because Final Fantasy 1 gave you a bunch of different characters that all worked different ways. And you had to create a dynamic group out of those characters based on the situations you're facing, the enemies you were fighting, and how you were playing that content. And it was really cool to put together those dynamic groups based on the different characters you might use. The same thing goes with playing Dragon Quest. In Dragon Quest, I beat the whole entire game because I wasted my time doing this. I leveled my character to max level. I beat the final boss using a stick and the starting, like, the most basic tools you can get in the game. Not because I wanted a challenge, but because I figured I wanted to try and do this, and I did it. It took a long time to figure out how to do it. But when I finally did it, I was like, wow, I finally did it. I finally accomplished my one goal that I set forth myself on this. And ESO is very similar in design. When it comes to sets, this is something that a lot of people don't realize. Arena sets doesn't mean that this is the Master Maelstrom and all that, the ability altering sets. These aren't the ability. These are the sets that drop in Dragonstar Maelstrom that change, like Archer's Mind, Footman's, Healer's Habit, all that kind of stuff. All these different things, and all these different sets in the game that you can get from different locations, from crafting, from dungeons, from overland, and all that, all have different setups. For example, Hunting's Rage, Night Mother's Gaze, and I'm trying to remember the last one. The Kvetch's Gladiator all have the same kind of setup. They all have a 2-piece bonus for crit. 3-piece bonus is either going to be stam or weapon damage, and the 4-piece bonus is going to be crit. The 5-piece bonus is what separates them, those sets. You can even compare this to Briarheart, which is an overland set that drops in the game. You can compare this to Griffins. You can compare this to some of the other sets like Viper, Sting, and all that. All those sets share a similar design. Their primarily purpose, damage. Now, for a tank, you might want to use a set like Green Pact, because this is going to make you super healthy. But you can do that in light armor, you can do it in medium armor, and you can do it in heavy armor, because you can get the jewelry and weapons in Green Pact, and that's going to give you that benefit of what that set gives you. Then you just craft in light armor the other set thing you want to use, whether it's a light armor set like Julianus, or you want to use Mad Tinkerers, or you want to use Wise Mage, or you want to do Infallible Aether. Those are sets that you can use in combination with each other to make your character a tanky damage dealer. That way, if you want, you can be a tank, but still do damage. And you can use a monster set like Lord Warden's, pretty much any of the monster sets that are what I say designed for tanking. So something like you could use Tremor Scale. A lot of people don't realize it is a tanking tool, because you have to taunt the enemy for it to work. You could use something like Engine Guardian is a great set that tanks can use because it gives health recovery. I like this on a recovery tank, honestly. This is a tank that's running something like Twiceborn Star, Pelennals, or even Shacklebreaker with like... I like Shacklebreaker and Hunting's Rage. I really do. And I also like Shacklebreaker with Julianus. Or Shacklebreaker and Bloodspawn. Or not Bloodspawn, Blood Drinker. Like, there's so many different combinations and ways you can put sets. But there's also Lord Warden. And then there's Bloodspawn, the set. These are all sets that tanks can use if they want to. But you can even be a stamina DPS and take advantage of Bloodspawn, because it gives you stamina recovery. And then on top of that, whenever you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 14 ultimate and to gain this larger spell and physical resistance. You're always going to be taking damage in dungeons. People don't realize that. And it doesn't matter whether you're a tank, a healer, or damage dealer. So taking advantage of sets to work in your advantage is pretty much what the game is all about. And it's about taking advantage of it in such a way you can maximize your character's design, but also your character in a group dynamic based on how you choose to play. Whether you choose to be more supportive with something like Alkosh and Vipers, Eben and Viper's Sting, or Alkosh and Night Mother's Gaze on a tank, or on a medium armor character, or even on a light armor character. Because Alkosh you can get in the jewelry and the weapons, and you can get Hunting's Rage and craft it in light, medium, or heavy. So you have a lot of different options and tools that you can use. And you can take advantage of them in a lot of different ways. And that's what I really love about this game, is it allows you to break down how your character works based on your own choices. I want my character to be a hybrid, to where they use both stamina and magicka. There's a ton of sets in the game that do that. There's Netch's Touch, which is a really great set for somebody who wants to focus on more like lightning damage. Craft Hunting's Rage in light armor. Now you've got a character who's got high spell crit, decent weapon crit, and with the right setup can actually utilize both sets effectively and be this damage dealer with lightning abilities as a sword. Because then you can take advantage of using Liquid Lightning all the time, or the other lightning, Execute. So you can do different things. And that's all I'm showing you guys how to do, is I'm showing you how to take all those tools and create the kind of character you want. I will be doing a guide on this even, explaining to people, like saying, what's your favorite character? You like Zelda from Link? Let's make Zelda from Link. And you're going to go, wait, how are we going to make Zelda from Link? I'm going to show you how we can do that. Now, you do have to be a Dragon Knight, which kind of sucks, but it also works out really well in the end when you think about it. Because you can take the concept of Majora's Mask, the Windwalker, the original Zelda, all the different versions of Zelda, and combine it together to create this dynamic character who's got all these different abilities and tools that allow you to work similar to that character. And you could even use the sword and shield. Or you can use a two-handed sword and a bow. It's really up to you. There's so many different options, like I said. You want to be Legolas? Let's try and figure out how Legolas would be played. I honestly think Legolas would probably be not so much a warden, but more of a Nightblade with a bow and dual wield. And he would use dual daggers with a bow. Bow would be on the front bar, dual daggers on the back bar. And the reason why is because his primary weapon he uses all the time is a bow. Then the sets I would probably go with is, and actually we were just looking at one a minute ago, in the arena sets here, and that is Archer's Mind, because increases your critical damage by 10% and increases your critical damage by another 10% when attacking from sneak or invisible. So you get 5% critical rating normally, and this gives you stamina, critical, critical. Remember what I said? There's a lot of sets in this game that mimic each other. This is more of a damage-based set. I would use this with automatons, because then any physical damage you deal is going to be boosted as this Legolas type character. So that means most of your bow abilities, well, those ones are going to be more poison based and stuff. So maybe even using Swamp Raider would be a good one, because it'll boost your poison and disease damage. So when you use poison injection, or you use some of your class abilities that do disease damage, like, you can take advantage of all these different tools, like I said, and put it into your character's design based on how you want to play. And that's the great thing about it. Or think about this. Think about a necromancer running Swamp Raiders with Reliquin and Veladrits. Now, the 450 weapon damage that applies to those other sets isn't going to be super effective for Veladrith, but most of the necro abilities are poison or disease damage. Then you have your own abilities, which are going to be poison based and physical based. So you can build up your weapon damage to work for the physical side, and then you work up everything else to work from the poison disease side. This way it maximizes your character's damage output, but also you're taking advantage of the Reliquin set to give you that same setup like this, like Archer's Mind, because that's how Reliquin is designed. See, when you look at Reliquin in the trial sets, in medium armor, I gotta pull it out, unfortunately, but I'm just gonna show you guys. If you look at Reliquin and regular arms of Reliquin, this gives you weapon critical, minor slayer, weapon critical, and then the 5-piece bonus. Instead of getting stamina or weapon damage, you get the slayer. Then it gives you this thing that stacks damage up to 20 stacks doing physical damage. This is a great combination on a necro. Then you take something like arms or perfected arms Reliquin. Now you get stamina plus the perfect slayer. So it works a lot more like Hunting's Rage, but instead of getting that high weapon damage, you're getting this benefit instead. Or take even Roar of Alkosh. Take this set, for example. Weapon critical, slayer, weapon damage, and then the 5-piece bonus, okay? If you put this with Hunting's Rage and Veladrits on any stamina DPS character, you can pull some decent numbers, because not only can you take advantage of the synergy activation part, but you're also going to get minor slayer, you're going to get that extra weapon critical and that extra weapon damage. So Hunting's is going to give you extra stamina, 2 things of weapon critical, and then high weapon damage. Now you put that on a Nightblade character, and them activating synergies, or even on a Necromancer with the one ability that allows him to activate his own synergy, it's ridiculous. And it is. It's really ridiculous, because they give you all these different tools so you can play how you want. And some of them, like Poisonous Serpent. This is more of something I would cross with, like, say, Viper's Sting. When you deal damage with a light or heavy attack against an enemy with a poison damage ability on them, you have a 50% chance to deal extra poison damage. This effect can occur every 1 second. Every 1 second. Now you put that with Viper's Sting on a DK, and you give them The Malabeth. Is it Malabeth? Or no, it's, I forget the monster set. Now. Spawnamafala. You put this on there. They're going to get extra stamina. They're also going to get, whenever they deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack, they create for a web for 10 seconds that deals poison damage every 1 second to all enemies within 4 meters and reduces their movement speed by 50%. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Now, that's a cool set. On a Dragon Knight who already does the poison talons and then the poison noxious breath, using those, the Viper Sting and that's going to give you really decent damage output. It's not going to be 60, 70k, but it might be 45 to 50k in the right hands. And that's more than enough to do content in this game. See, and that's another thing that a lot of people use as a misleading tool, especially at the trial level. Most of the trials in this game, including veteran mode, and I'm saying veteran, not hard mode, because hard mode only applies to end bosses, not the whole thing. To do veteran mode in this game, most of the content only requires you to do anywhere between 25 and whatever in damage. The average player can pull a 25k DPS with a build. You guys seen it right here. In an organized group, I can pull 25 plus K, probably 30k if I can get my rotation down. And that's the point of this game, is it allows you to make the character you want to play and to play it. Because the only reason why you would need to do 90 to 100k DPS or even 75k DPS is if you want to speedrun something so fast it's ridiculously done. And then what's the point of enjoying the content if it's so easy that you're not even having trouble to beat it? See, and that's why I like to play roleplay characters, because I like to take the character up against those challenges. I like to face those kind of challenges. The more difficult, the more intense it is for me. And the better it is for me. Because then I can put my character through their paces and truly see how effective they can be in that situation. Whether I'm playing a damage support character like the Ranger here, or I'm playing a Dark Knight character that's playing as a tank, or I'm playing him as a damage dealer. It really comes down to how I choose to play my character and to play them the most effective way I can. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. That's what I wanted to say and let you guys know about. And please understand, I don't diss on the meta because I hate it. I just don't agree with it. That's it. I don't agree with it because I feel like it limits your ability to play. And the meta people feel like my stuff limits their ability to play because I'm not building stuff to fit that dynamic of their group dynamic, that where they make their characters work to specific roles at such a high demand that you actually sacrifice your ability to play your character to do so. And they don't realize how bad they do hurt themselves doing that, because their character's so designed to be one thing that they actually sacrifice the ability to play the character with all the tools available. They limit the tools just to very specific tools. And like I said, I have no problems with people wanting to play that way. I get it. Heck, I'm even trying to help people learn how to play one-bar builds by creating characters that I will show how you can play at one bar. Like this character right here is really easy to set up for one bar. So this is my damage bar. I'm going to go over here, I'm going to grab my animal companions. And I'm only going to grab that. And then I'm going to go over here to my Winter's Embrace, and I'm going to grab this. Now the reason I grab these abilities, and only those abilities, because I already have the shield I need. So this is to help me play more survivable as a one-bar build. If I want more DPS, now this is going to give me more damage, and it's going to give me the Bull Netch, and it's going to give me the Ice Fortress. The Ice Fortress is pretty much there for survivability. So I can sit there and do this. And you guys can see I just did, well, according to this, I did 19,000 DPS. Okay, that's with 30,000. That's what this is what my stuff was looking like. Now you put me in an organized group to where I can play my character this way, and let's see what kind of DPS I can do. Because I can promise you it's going to be even higher. It's probably going to be closer to 30k. Because I don't have to focus that much on other abilities. It's because I keep forgetting the light attack in between H1. But even in an organized group, I'm still getting 21k. And if I wanted more DPS, all I'd have to do is switch out to the Lover Mundus Stone. And I would drop to 58% crit. And now I can push even more DPS out of my character because I'm going to have that higher damage rating. Because I'm going to boost my damage capabilities by giving me higher penetration values. And like I said, this is just one idea, guys. This isn't perfect. This isn't the best way to play. This is just to help people know how to play. There we go, 21,000 that time. And nothing changed. My weapon damage went up a little bit. My crit dropped, but my penetration went up. Now I can go over here and I can test this again with this thing and see what I get. And I've already gotten up to 27k. See, it's not that hard. It's just a matter of knowing the character and how to play. And taking the time to learn to do what I just did. And I was up to 27k there for a little bit. And that was almost 30k, but again, I'm having a little bit of trouble today. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to show you guys. Like, this character is more than capable to even play one bar in most trials. If you can play to this degree, then you could probably play a trial really well. Now, can you solo Maelstrom Arena with this? I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I'd probably, if I was going to try Maelstrom Arena, I'd probably get rid of Bullnetch, and I would probably grab either the Green Balance, Soothing Spores to heal myself, or I might even just grab Green Lotus. So this way I can boost my weapon critical. This, oops, so I can do... And this is without any real, like, this is with some group buffs, but still, even 17k isn't bad. Go down here and test this one on here. We gave up the weapon damage. That's probably where that higher DPS loss is coming from. Except it should be about the same, because we're using power pots instead of the Bullnetch. So we should be getting about the same in DPS, but for some reason it wasn't giving us the same results. See, the weapon damage was still the same, and the crit was higher. Or it wasn't even higher, it was the same. The only thing that was different was nothing. Just my ability to do. So, but yeah. And that's it for the video this time, for real. So, if you guys are interested in learning more about how to do things like this with your characters, keep an eye on my channel. I will continue to show you guys more effective ways you can play your characters using different sets, not just basic sets that you can get in the game that drop in Overlander, dungeons, and monster sets. I plan on doing some trial type stuff too, to show you what happens when you have the trial sets equipped with different setups. So this way you guys can play any way you want, and if you want to play into those higher difficulties of trial setups, you can, and you can take advantage of those trial sets with other sets in the game plus monster sets. And that's pretty much it. So you guys know what's coming next. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.